And we're live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children and dogs of all ages. It's Wednesday night. Joe, Alex, welcome.
Hello.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Good.
It feels like forever since we had the band back together.
Yeah, we did. I don't know. I mean, I've been gone for a couple of weeks, and I think Alex was gone the one before that. I don't know. Maybe been a month. I don't know.
Something like that.
I guess I'm officially in the band now. You asked
are
me
in
to
the
join,
band.
and then I wasn't here for 2 friggin' weeks. So
you are Jay's you are the Hammy Sagar. Or you're the Sammy Hagar.
No, it's Hammy Sagar.
It's going to be Hammy Sagar now.
You're the Hammy Sagar to Jason's David Lee Roth.
That's the worst sandwich ever.
There you go. So I'm sure Sam will be joining us. He's probably watching Jeopardy or brushing his teeth or whatever Sam does to be fashionably late. So, it's been forever. Joe's been lost in the wilderness for like 4 weeks doing something stupid called camping, which is a dumb idea. And Alex has been a busy man. I got it. So I know we talked about it privately in text messages, but Alex went to see Pete Best, the Beatles' original drummer.
Yeah.
And that was less than spectacular.
So yeah, it was just about 4 days ago. It was this past Sunday. And I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, but
we got time.
The best way I can say it, I go to a lot of shows, and I have a pretty ongoing list of some pretty brutally like unlucky show experiences. Like I don't have a lot of negative, like bad shows. Like I don't have, shows besides like Motley Crue, but like, I don't have a lot of bands that I'm like, that was the worst show ever. Just bad luck stuff. I mean, we're talking like a one-of-a-kind supergroup that tours once every 20 years, and they were only playing 3 U.S. dates, one in New York, one outside of Chicago, one in L.A., and I drove 6 hours to Chicago and picked up my buddy and paid for his ticket to go, and 5 minutes into the first song, he started puking. I had to go. I had to take care of my best friend. All these different things. The Pete Best will firmly find its way on this top 5 list of worst, most unlucky show experiences. And a lot of that is karma. I mean, I don't think I might have said this to you, Rob. It was held at this very odd historic ballroom in Columbus that was home to like jazz swing concerts back in as far back as the 20s. And so, very historic. The walls are covered with pictures of Count Basie and all these different artists, and it was like a ballroom with the Pete Best band. Now the opener was very interesting because let's see how good you cats are in your Beatle history and amongst other random 60s factoids. The opener was a band called The Circle. SY
awesome
CYRKLE.
Red Rubber Ball.
There you go, Sam. So they were
it's the original singer, right?
So it's one of the original singers as well as the original piano player who also sang.
Cool.
And so, but what I didn't know is that they have their roots in Columbus. So this was like a one-off show that they were like, yeah, we'll open because they have a lot of histories. They were part of the opening band for the Beatles in 1966. They were also managed by Brian Epstein. There's a lot of, history there. They were cute. I mean, that's the best. It was like very cute because, Red Rubber Ball, great hit. The guy was telling the guy's like 82, but like
co-written by
Paul Simon. So they were talking about this, that the other Paul Simon song that they were given, that Paul was like, yeah, go ahead, guys, take this one if you want to. And they were like, no, that they played was Feeling Groovy. And they're like, we regret this to this day because
as they should.
They're like, this would have been, So they were fine. It was cute, whatever. And then they're opening for the Pete Best band. Now, the whole day, it was a whole day of events. Each event was requiring a different type of ticket. So it was like at 1:30, you had a lecture with a Q&A. and it was like Pete Best tells all about his time with the Beatles and his time in Hamburg, and all these different things. I think the lecture was like $60. And then after the lecture, you had a meet and greet limited to just 75 people. Meet and greet was like $80. And it was like, get pictures, get signatures, take pictures, like, do your whole thing, meet and greet. And then it was see the concert, the Pete Best Band with the circle opening at 7:00. And Pete Best will be doing an autograph signing afterwards. Okay. So I sit through this music that, I'm there for the history, right? Like nobody is actually there for.
No one wants to see Pete Best drum. Nobody gives a shit.
No one. And like, I mean, look, yes, he was there for. I saw her standing there and like some of that and that type of stuff. But like, I felt like I was just watching like a bad like grandpa like cover band at like a bad like at like a Christian birthday party. No offense, Sam, but like I was like I was like looking at, and I'm sitting here now. Oh, the feedback was too is that I selfishly, and I told you Rob this, and I'm sure I told you Sam, was like, okay, I had to go out and find something that Pete Best is on because I'm a memorabilia guy. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we'll get to this because I'm a memorabilia guy, and if I can get Pete Best's signature on something he was on, that's really cool. Like, yeah, like no. And here's the thing: his brother is also drumming with him. Like, he's not even like That's probably a good thing.
It is exactly like
he's a shitty drummer. 2 drum sets are up there, and it's like you're not the Grateful Dead. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like you're playing polyrhythms here. You're like whatever. But so show ends, clap it out, very nice, and they're like, yes, and Pete Best will be upstairs signing autographs at his merch table. Great, we love that. Go up there. Now the venue owners, because there's a huge line that's forming. I was number 6 in line because I was like, I gotta get this thing signed and get the hell out of here. Venue owner up there, people are like, oh, is he just like, if we have like personal stuff, he's assigned that. Venue's like, yeah, like he has stuff to buy. You can buy like your $150 drum head if you're into that sort of thing, or your drumsticks. But they're like, yeah, you can, sign personal stuff. Great. So like we get up there, line's moving. I got my, Beatles featuring Tony Sheridan, UK. Like I'm ready to go, man. Let's get it done. And then his wife / manager / handler, all three, like reaches down behind the table and pulls out this like A-frame, piece of paper thing. Boom, sticks it right on the table, and it has the prices for everything. So it's got, drum head, $150, drumsticks, $75, and then at the very bottom it says personal items, $50 each. Oh. Cash only. Yeah. Now we're in a ballroom that was built in the 20s. This is a nursing home social. Like no offense to the people up there. I was the youngest person there outside of grandchildren who were like literally like there with their grandparents. Like there's no ATM in sight. I'm sitting there and I was like, well, shit, at this point, I would pay $50 just to get it done. I've waited. I've sat here. I'll pay $50 for a signature. I get it. But then it was like the cash only thing. And her argument was, oh, we can't do like the square reader because we have to, transfer this to British pounds and that gets really complicated, blah, 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 blah. But of course, who carries cash?
Old people.
And Joe, because Joe's not old people.
This was zero, not putting my hand up. In
old guy. Well, yeah, but Joe, we're not talking about the club, okay? I know.
Van B.
It's like, welcome to the stage. But I'm like, so old people carry that or carry cash. Now, you know what old people also, sir, old people also don't carry or don't do? It's like Venmo. Because I was like, look, I will Venmo, or for our Canadian friends, like Venmo is just, it's a.
I know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have gone to Sam and like Sam or whoever, like I will Venmo you $60 if you give me $50 in cash. Like you'll make $10. It's coming out of the same account. But of course, they're all old people. No one got it. But I was like, I'm fucked. And like the guy behind me, he had Anthology 1, like ready to go. He's like, did you know this? Isn't this different when they said? I feel like they should make an announcement. I'm like, you're right. Like we just left. But like this guy, I mean, and people are showing up, of course, like with their manila folders of like black and white prints. And like, she's like, how many pictures? And he's like, 8. She's like, okay, 400.
That's greedy. That's
yeah.
$50
just to go
per item. Per item. I'm like,
I would have gone out there and said, "You're not fucking Ringo, buddy. Who do you think you are?"
Yeah.
Right. You know, at least Ringo would have just. At least Ringo doesn't even do signatures.
No, he doesn't.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, but no signatures.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was. I mean, devastated's not. That's a little bit dramatic. I was pissed, and then the other was like, "This is." Yeah. I'm like, "This is karma." Like, you went to the show to get I went to get the autograph. I'll be very clear, and to be in this space of the history. The stories were cool. It was just cool to be in the history. I was 5 feet from him. Very cool. But I went to get a fucking sick. I went to go get something signed, you know? And so then to be like, you want that signed? $50 on top of the $60 that you paid to come in the first place. And I bought a deli sandwich that was $6 and a fucking bag of chips for $2. So
not cool. I get the guy wants to make his money on merch. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I could even see him charging for signing personal items. Don't make it $50 each. Make it a flat fee of whatever the fuck it is. $20.
Yep.
Got 10 pictures, $20. You got one record, $20, whatever.
Yep.
Just advertise it ahead of time.
Just max it out, 5 items each, $20.
Sure. He could have handled, but that's greedy for a guy that was a shitty drummer that no one would know who the fuck he is had he not been fired by the Beatles.
Well,
he would have vanished into obscurity.
It is funny. I mean, has there ever been a more famous person that is famous simply for not doing something?
The Kardashian.
Yeah.
Well, no, hers is actually the lack of doing something. Like, fair.
Well, I think the other one that's famous for doing nothing, and Joe would probably agree, is Justin Trudeau.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, at least people voted for him. I mean,
I was one of them.
Right, you know. Rob, we don't talk about politics on this show.
No, we don't. I'm sorry.
Just ban politics.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we say. We talk about politics, just not governmental affairs.
There you go.
What's the deal with Jimmy Nickel? Yeah.
No. Do y'all Canadians still call your like governmental departments ministries?
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. That is so cultish.
Very British.
Oh, for sure. Well,
who's a little. I think Pete is Mike. The better known of the guys that were in the band and then left. We could do an episode of that though, right? Because there's that. There's Dave. Dave, what's the guy's name from AC/DC that had the one song on the first album? There was a little bit of that. There was the guy that was the drummer before Neil Peart. So there's a few around. Pete's probably the best known. Yeah, Pete's probably the best known. But I think the other two guys only charge $40 per item though. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Look, Stuart Sutcliffe could have charged me $50 for a new head. That's bad.
You can also do the same thing for forum members of the stream, but you know.
Yeah.
We could, absolutely.
You know, Glenn would charge 50. Glenn would have thrown a fit.
Not to leave a salty taste in your mouth, but since we're talking about it.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Right? I'm just gonna go right past that one.
Yeah.
This is an album by the Pete Best Band called The Beatle That Time Forgot. And the Beatles are pictured on here, but of course this is not a Beatles record. This is a Pete Best record, and it's terrible. And it came out in the I don't know,
it's not
60s. But it is signed, it is autographed, and I bought this for $50.
Yeah.
And there was a record store that I used to love in the next town over from mine that's now out of business. But you'd go in and behind the counter, they had all the, the expensive records on the wall. And up in the corner, this was up there, but I could only see half of it. But I could see writing on it. And I said to the woman behind the counter, was the owner, I'm like, is that what I think it is? She goes, Pete Best. I go, yeah, is that really signed? She goes, yeah, I got it signed at a similar concert to what you were at. I go, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, no one's ever asked about it. I'm like, are you kidding?
Right.
She goes, yeah, I've had it up there for like 3 years.
Dang.
What do you want for it? She goes, $50.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Take it. Yeah. Absolutely.
And,
so.
And I guess like in closing on the topic, I want to be very clear. I know Pete Best made good money from Anthology 1. He got like $1 million payout on that. But I understand for him at his age, like he needs to make money, because as much as $1 million payout is in 1995, like that doesn't cover medical bill. Like that doesn't come with insurance, I guess if you live in the UK, it does. Anyway, you know what I mean? But like, I understand the need for people like that to make money. It's not like he was like the original songwriter. He's getting paid on all these royalties or anything like that. To me, it was terrible communication between his camp and
but you're trying to make money on a job you got fired from 60 years ago. That's like me trying to get paid for artwork I made in kindergarten when I glued the macaronis on the construction paper.
But you know what, Rob, you know what though? Me and a handful of other people left, but there was a lot of fucking beetle collectors. I guarantee you all over central Ohio that were going, oh, I'll pay because beetle people. I would have
done it. I'm a beetle. I would have done it. Yeah, for sure. I would have paid $60 for the lecture. I would have paid for the concert. I would have paid for the autograph.
Yeah. And so my question, what I keep going back to, and I mean, part of me is like, you should ask them, but I'm like, I don't care at this point. But for the people who paid for the, the $80 meet and greet, were they able to bring a personal item and get it signed, or did they also have to pay? Was it $80 just to meet him and greet him, and then another $50 per item to get signed on top of that? So
makes you wonder. Wow. Well, man, I'm sorry that didn't pan out. And you said to me, should I go? And I'm like, absolutely. And then I felt bad afterwards that it was not that it was my fault. But
your exact words were, he's a fucking beetle, man.
That's what I said. I mean, there's only 3 of them left, right?
Well, yeah.
Pete, Ringo, and Paul. So you're probably not going to meet Paul or Ringo.
And Jimmy Nickel. He's still out there.
He's still out there too. Fair enough.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Who was the super group in Chicago? I've never heard that story. Where your friend puked, you said.
Well, it was the band was Transatlantic, which is a progressive rock supergroup that is comprised of members of Dream Theater, Marillion, the Flower Kings, and Spock's Beard. And so it's like, they played 3 U.S. dates, and I drove all the way there, and 6 minutes in, man, we were out. That's a whole story. That's a great one. See, this would be a great video. Is me just telling these stories.
There you go.
As you should.
That's an after dark if I've ever heard one.
There you go.
Yeah, true.
Joe, how have you been for the last few weeks? You've been camping in the wilderness. You got molested by Sasquatch.
I did. Yeah.
Was that fun?
Beyond that, same old. But no.
Store's doing well.
Yeah, store's good. A little quieter in the summer. People are away and that, but still picking up momentum. New people coming in every day. Not every day, but every couple of days anyway. And a good repeat clientele. There's one guy just comes every Friday. That's his deal. So that's good. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, that's a good thing to have. So nice. Yeah, haven't bought a big collection for a bit, but still finally processed the 2,200. So those are all at least in the system. Now they got to get cleaned and bagged and priced and everything else. But it's good. It's good still.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. What are you about, Sam? You've been Sam. What's been shaking?
Well, a week ago Monday, I was completely sedated, getting wisdom teeth pulled. But that's just another week for me. Everything went well with that. No pain or anything after the fact, and I'm pretty much back to normal. I'm doing everything I need to do, and eating is fine, all that stuff. So that was the big thing in personal life. I just did a video yesterday. I got free tickets to see Christopher Cross from a former coworker. And it was just a last minute thing. She texted me on Monday, said, "You want to go to the show tomorrow night?" I said, "Sure." So went to that last night, did a review, saw Christopher Cross. It was a sold out show. And then, other than that, I'm beginning to be in the process of being in a new band, which is kind of cool, for a gig the week before Halloween in October. We're playing at a local casino down here, doing really everything, essentially Grateful Dead tunes and like anything that they would have covered in their career. So
You could probably get Pete Best to be your drummer. It might cost you $600.
That's true. Yeah, well, that's what they're paying us is $600. So
you could probably recruit Pete Best. I hear he's looking for money.
Yeah.
Is that in cash or is that in like chips?
Yeah, but what about
that's like a casino chips, not like a potato chip.
I was going to make a joke. Yeah, my uncle is going to be the drummer, and it's two guys he played with for about 10 years. Really solid. So I'm playing rhythm and some mandolin.
What are you going to call the band?
That's still in discussion. I wanted to go with the name Weird, but it didn't completely go across. Like WEIR''D.
Oh, think about okay.
Like Bobby Strange, yeah, and the band. So that's a big thing. We had our first practice on Tuesday night. Monday night. And we got the bare bones there. So it's gonna be a fun time.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Comment for you here, Alex. Douglas said he had a good time at the Uriah Heep concert. Did get any autographs from the band? I assume he meant didn't get any autographs from the band.
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't know if he's saying that he went to the show or if he's asking or if he's saying that I had a good time. Either way. But yeah, I mean, they're great. I mean, and no, I didn't get any autographs when I went. I just peed next to Mick Box. But
cool. What more do you need? I mean,
he's very short man. And I ask someone like a tall person, but like
okay. I was just making sure.
No, I think there's like this. It's weird when you meet quote unquote like rock stars and they're short, right? Like I think because like they're on stage and they have like this persona that like you're like, wait a minute, you tiny. Like Sam, he's like 5'8" or something.
No, but not
and
quite.
Joe's 7'2". We just don't know.
Giant. Like that's exactly it.
Yeah. That's how you fought off the Sasquatch.
I'm getting to be 7'2" in my belly, but
yeah, you and me both, man.
I don't know.
Both.
Whatever. I'm happy. I'd be fat and happy. I don't give a shit. I'm good with that.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So I didn't put my ticker up here. Hold on. Let's just put this on here. There we go. Sing me a song, singer person. That's our that's
good.
I didn't want to say singer man because we have to be gender sensitive or whatever. Ow. I just fucking elbowed a bunch of stack of records off my desk. So we're going to talk about, I guess, favorite singers or the best singers or good singers or whatever we decide we want that to mean. And however we decide to evaluate that, it's entirely up to you guys with, whatever. So, we've talked about drummers and guitar players, but I don't think we've ever really done an episode talking about great singers. So that's what we're doing tonight. So, who wants to kick this thing off?
Joe.
Sure. Okay. So the way that I understood the homework when I spoke to the teacher was frontman of a band. So
sure, that works.
Right. So it leaves out a lot of guys, not that they're not the frontman of the band, but I didn't pick anybody whose name was in the band title, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Which I could have done lots of. But anyway, so with that being said, and much like the Desert Island one that we did a little while ago, I said it at that point, I didn't put a lot of thought into it. It's the stuff that came into my mind quickly is what I picked. And then I thought about it more and it changed a whole bunch of times. So with that said, I'm going to start off with a band I'm going to see in a couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to. You guys are tired of me talking about it, but I like Billy Joe Armstrong.
Oh.
And obviously the rest of Green Day, but good songwriter, pretty decent guitar player for as much as he plays guitar. Good front man, or at least I hope he's going to be a good front man. I'm pretty sure. I think he's a little tamer than maybe he used to be. It seemed like
he's sober now, so that's
he's in his 50s.
Hopefully that's a good thing. I'm gonna move that over. I'm really looking forward to seeing the band. And again, I think he'll be very good. I think they'll be great. They're going to do Dookie and American Idiot in their entirety. And then hopefully they do the whole first half of this album, which would work for me. There's some good stuff on the second half and then other songs. I was talking to another guy that owns a record store. He owns a new only store. And he said he can't give this album away, and I don't understand that. I think we've talked about it before.
It's solid. It's really
and
solid.
I've got 3 copies as well that have sat there for a while, and I have them reasonably priced, and I talk about it. I do videos, and it's like, man, you got to listen to this album, people. I have no idea what the deal is. Even on YouTube, I was looking, and I watched, I can't remember, one of the videos, and it only had like 3 million views. So I wasn't sure if it was just that fans of Green Day didn't necessarily go and listen on YouTube. And that's not a great example, but it's like, well, that had to have been viewed more than that. Because this, and we've talked about it before, I think between the 4 of us, or 3 of us at least, have talked about it. This holds its own against Dookie and American Idiot, I think. Especially the first side. It's great. It's good. It's eclectic. It's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I digress a little bit from our original topic, which is the singer. So again, greatest voice in the world? No, but good showman and great songwriter. And I think he's going to be great to see live. So I'm looking forward to it in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Nice.
They were just on Good Morning. They were just on Good Morning America. They played like a little mini set. And I mean, they sound fantastic. I love that album. I just listened to one of their greatest hits the other day. Just to like listen in the car. But Saviors, I mean, after American Idiot, I mean, that album might be that might be a close number 2, if not tied for 1 for me.
Yeah, it's a really good. I don't understand. I'm not sure if people have given up on them. And it wasn't for lack of promotion, because they promoted the hell out of that album around December and January, just before it came out. But yeah, the tour just started, so it'll maybe pick up some momentum, and we'll go from there. There's only 1 date in Canada, but I think just Toronto, I believe.
I think so.
But,
it's funny, as someone who doesn't necessarily connect with like Green Day's music, like it's not like I dislike it. It's just not like a thing I connect with as much. I saw them a couple years ago when they were on the tour with Weezer and Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
I actually, none of those bands I'm crazy into. I do like Weezer, but it was a free ticket. I went. For someone who the music was secondary, like I was entertained the entire time because of exactly like what you were talking about, Joe. Like he is still extremely energetic, very lively, great front man, like all that type of stuff. Like they just put on a really good show.
Good. That's good. That's what I'm open for. So
like that tour was like after one of their most like critically like underwhelming records for Green Day. Like they had like that was like this was like essentially the follow up to that album, and this one is head over heels on a different level.
I can't help but think it's almost like I think it's
what do you say?
I think it's kind of they're suffering from the it's not cool to like Green Day anymore kind of thing. Like it's not cool to like U2 anymore.
I guess maybe.
And they're 45 years old playing sort of the same pop punk that they did when they were 20. And I think maybe some of the audience has outgrown it, or maybe they've just, I think that may be part of it, which is a shame because it's a goddamn good record.
Yeah, exactly. Or they discounted it because, those guys have been doing it forever. Nobody makes a good album 30 years on or whatever. Right. But they did. So anybody watching this, go and buy the damn album. Not that, they necessarily need you to, but you will enjoy it. If you're a Green Day fan at any point in their career, you'll enjoy this album because there's bits and pieces from all of the evolution of Green Day, I think.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Sam, you want to go next?
Yeah, I don't have any particular order. Like, this is my favorite of all of them because, like, it's hard for me to rank singers because, as you know, anybody that follows my channel, I mean, I love like a gruff voice almost more than I like a pure type voice, which is why. And this is a hot topic for me. And I know this might affect Rob a little bit here. Somebody like Linda Ronstadt, to me. She doesn't do anything for me in terms of her voice because it doesn't have the grit like somebody like a Stevie Nicks or even like a Carole King.
I get what you're saying.
She's
no
Bob
Dylan fan.
I couldn't disagree with you more, but I understand what you're saying.
So with that being said, like some of my artists, I mean, obviously like I would have for me, I think they're great singers. I think Tom Waits is a great singer for what he does. I think Bob Dylan's a great singer. I think John Prine is a great singer. I'm not going to show them because I wanted to go more with the exercise. But all I have to say, these singers are all, they're all actually, I think, really good singers. And I'll start with one contender for my favorite is going to be the man that produced a ton of perfect sounding records through the 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s. And that's going to be Mr. Jeff Lynne. You always know a Jeff Lynne sound when it comes on the radio. You always know, make me big.
Gladly.
There you go.
But to hear those harmonies on, the George Harrison, Cloud Nine, the Tom Petty, couple of albums he did with Jeff Lynne, 2 or 3 albums that he did with Jeff Lynne. And then obviously all of the ELO stuff is just like, you can't not know that that's a Jeff Lynne. I mean, you like that. Yeah, it's a Jeff Lynne record. And it is just so good. He just stacks his own harmonies on top of each other. And for the most part, all the ELO vocals are always going to be Jeff Lynne. There are exceptions, but you hear all those harmonies, it sounds like a choir. It's like, oh, that's just Jeff Lynne, layering himself. And I think his voice is just pure. I think somebody described it as silk at one point. He's got that Beatle-y kind of, production, obviously, but then at the same time, his harmonies are even tighter than the Beatles because obviously he's doing it with himself and just layering and layering and layering. So Jeff Lynne for me is way up there. And, as a lot of you know, I'm going to get to see him for the first and only time in October here in the fall in Atlanta. And I'm super excited to see that. And I think the group Rooney is going to be opening for him. They're kind of like a punk pop band from the early 2000s, but I'm just so excited to see Jeff. To hear Jeff sing, Telephone Line live, I'll be a puddle. So Jeff Lynne for me, he's going to be the first one I'm going to mention there.
Great choice.
Cool. Alex, what do you got?
Well, I wanted to, I guess my way of looking at this assignment, is you were talking singers, we're talking front women, front men, front people. And I think in a lot of respects, there's some I don't want to say overly obvious answers, but I wanted to go kind of as always, maybe people who aren't mentioned enough that are wait a minute, for the style, this is perfect. Nobody had a voice like this, but we just don't really hear about them much. So my first pick is from the VC's favorite genre to forget of all time. I guess you would throw this in quote unquote AOR, this soul, late 70s, early 80s, big radio hits, rock and roll, hard rock, whatever. And I think of these bands, arguably, and his story is a little bit interesting too, but arguably I think there's such a great voice that no one talks about at all is Lou Gramm from Foreigner. Just and this is my favorite. This is their debut. Was it 78, maybe 77? I don't know. To me, just a perfect but not historically pure rock and roll singer. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think he just fit the music so perfectly. An amazing voice. A sad story. I think it was 97. He was. The story is it was 1997. He was forgetting things. He was noticing things that he was forgetting. I think the example was I totally forgot my parents' phone number for the first time in 35 years. What's going on? And went to his doctors, and it turns out that he had a non-cancerous tumor in his brain. And as he this is kind of creepy, but as he says it, it was not only was it this big ass tumor, but there were tentacles crawling out of the tumor and wrapping themselves around nerves and shit. It is out of nightmares, and was basically given a death sentence, put your affairs in order and all that type of stuff. And then it was a miracle laser surgery that got rid of it. But because of all that, it's he doesn't sing much anymore. I think he is still kind of performing, but it's just one of those things it's hard to come back from that because there's a lot of other health issues involved with it. But I actually thought about it. I could have done a whole album just on this style of music, and maybe other people are too, but that sort of late 70s, quote unquote AOR, all those types of bands, I think all their singers would have fit so well. But I just think Lou Graham has one of the best, just hard rock and roll voices of all time. So,
yeah, I mean, for me, I've always said he's not on my list, but I mean, Steve Perry. If I was doing a pure listing, he's top 10.
Sure, yeah.
And then like guys like Kevin Cronin and
Shub, Sam, you're taking all of our picks.
Like I said, it's tough because I thought about it, picked a bunch, and then went, oh, well, but wait, there's more. But anyway, so the stack's what the stack is at this point.
Richard is agreeing with you. Jeff Lynne's voice is so distinctive in his production style. Music Sanctuary saying he got the CELO in 76. So he says,
very cool.
Man, you're going to have a good show. All right. I'm going to go next. All right. I'm going to pick the greatest singer that ever was, Bob Dylan. No, I'm fucking kidding. I'm not kidding.
I'm impressed that you have that record.
So I had that because like a year and a half ago, I won Concert Buddies contest. It was a Vinyl Me Please subscription. And that was one of the picks. So I picked it because I wanted to, see what the fuss was about. I still don't see what the fuss is about.
And it's a fuss, all right.
It is a fuss. All right. I'm picking a singer that I love that I think is probably, I don't think he's the best singer ever, but I think he's got one of the most distinctive voices ever. And it was the voice that changed the course of music. That's Elvis. Whether you like him or not, you can't argue the impact that he made. He made rock and roll mainstream. And man, his stage performance in the early days. I mean, some stations could only film him from the neck down because all this crazy dancing shit. But man, he entertained people. And yeah, what the diamond studded jumpsuit shit later on is tacky. I love it for the schmaltz factor. It's total cheeseball, but I still love it. Yeah. But man, did he have a voice. And would popular music be what it is if this guy hadn't happened? I don't know. So it was kind of the first act that I ever, even before the Beatles. Yeah, Elvis was the first music that I ever got into. And so,
did you see that biopic? Was that like a couple years ago?
Yeah, 2022.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Okay. I haven't seen it either, but I heard it was. I don't know.
The one with Austin Butler. My wife watched it, and she said it was really good. So
I liked it a lot. The ending is killer.
Yeah, agreed. And we won't. I mean, you don't spoil it by talking about it, but there's a song that he sings that is just unbelievably well done. That I don't think is necessarily considered one of his bigger songs either. I mean, there's the ones we know, but there's one that he sings in that at the end, and it's like, holy shit, man!
It was a Blue Christmas.
Yeah, that was it.
That's my favorite Christmas album. I love it. I mean, Elvis put out a lot of shit too. I mean, he recorded something like 700 songs or something ridiculous, and there's a lot of crap for that. Decade or whatever that he was doing movies. There was a lot of garbage, like just shit that they were just cranking out so that they could have Elvis singing in the movie. And a lot of that was crap. The early stuff is awesome. And there's some good stuff, like the 68 comeback special and shortly after that, which is just a whole different Elvis before the Las Vegas diamond studded jumpsuit kind of thing. So yeah. The first kind of rock and roll showman, I guess, right? And a hell of a powerful voice. And even at the end of his career, you see one of those last performances where he's vastly overweight and he's at the piano and he's singing, I think it's Unchained Melody. And even in his absolutely poor health and sweats pouring out of him, the voice that was coming out of him, you just go, holy shit. It was incredible. So Elvis is my pick for one of the best. So.
Yeah. I like the late 60s, early 70s stuff. I like the Suspicious Minds and In the Ghetto, if that falls in there, right? That's all good stuff. I mean, I like the early stuff, but if you made me pick what do you want to listen to Elvis, it would be that late 60s, early 70s stuff if I could only have some part of it.
And that's where I'm at too. I was originally, when I was younger, I liked the Sun Studios stuff, That's All Right, Mom and Blue Moon of Kentucky. And then I liked, the early RCA hits, like Jailhouse Rock and Hound Dog. But now in my old age, I like the Suspicious Minds and Burning Love and Little Less Conversation, that kind of stuff. So
yep, exactly.
Yeah, man. All right. What's Bennett Galler saying here? Lou Graham claims he got screwed over by Mick Jones when it came to writing and royalties from his interviews on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the history is there, but I'm sure it's not good.
Elvis, definitely his singing. His singing changed vastly, but I mean, that's part of what makes it interesting. So, I'll add Johnny Cash to the list from that time period. Yeah, I mean, Johnny Cash was, that whole $1 Million Quartet, frankly, is pretty incredible. The amount of influential musicians that came out of Sun Studios is pretty incredible. So, that's kind of like lightning in a bottle. So,
agreed.
All right, round 2, Joe.
Round 2, I'm gonna go with an obvious. And for me, again, a lot of it always falls back to performer and front man, or at least that was what was in my mind. And it's tough to beat this guy. I think on album or front man when he's live or whenever as well. So I don't really need to talk a lot about Freddie Mercury. We all know it looks kind of cool on there, though, right? With the cover a little bit. I don't know if that's just if the weed's kicking in or not. But anyway, not true.
It's the bad meatloaf you had for dinner.
Yeah. But, sometimes when you're talking about lead singers or lead guitar players or lead drummers, you just got to pick guys like Freddie Mercury. Everybody knows them. Everybody thinks it. And it's true for a reason, I think. Again, the voice was there. From what I understand, live, I never got a chance to see them, but I think it was always solid live. Obviously, we saw what happened at Live Aid and things like that. So sometimes, like I said, you just got to go with an obvious one. And this is one of my favorites, jazz. I don't know, it gets shit on a lot, but I like this one. Obviously, Fat Bottom Girls, Bicycle Race, and that it's pretty good. And so there you go, Freddie Mercury.
Who doesn't like Fat Bottom Girls? I mean,
yeah, they make the rock and roll go around, from what I understand.
I agree with you, Joe. And I had put that in my stack because I was going to show that next. I think Freddie Mercury is the greatest frontman that ever lived. I think he's the greatest singer in popular music that there ever was. Man's incredible. He can do it with all of the crazy flamboyance, and he can do it with absolutely nothing, as is witnessed by Live Aid. It's just him and the guys on stage with, there's no lights. I mean, it's in the middle of the daytime and there's no pyrotechnics and theatrics and all that shit. It's just a band playing, and is arguably one of the greatest live performances ever. So yep. I'm with you, man. 100%.
Cool.
Sam.
Well, I'm going to go. This is one I got up right when we had already started the stream, because I was like, how can I talk about this without talking about this guy? And he very well might be on your list as well, Rob. But the best vocalist in terms of just straight ahead vocals in this group, because this group had several lead singers. I'm going to go with this man right here, Mr. Rick Danko from the band. My favorite band song is It Makes No Difference, which Rick knocks out of the park. Obviously, you had Levon. I love Levon's vocals. I love Richard's vocals with the soul. Levon had that drawl, but there's something special about Rick with that high, like mournful sound that he had. He could have fit well in some bluegrass groups with his voice, the way that he had that, again, that mournful, longing kind of voice. He does, so many great tunes. Stage Fright is another great one. Obviously, the harmonies on so many of those songs. He does the whole, wait a minute, Chester. There you go, Alex.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, It Makes No Difference is just, it rips my heart out every time I hear it. Somebody, I think it was Levon, said like that he could harmonize with anything, like any kind of like terrible noise. Rick Danko could harmonize with it because he was just that good. And on top of that, he's one of my favorite bassists too, because he could play a bass, so well. And just like the rest of the guys could play, a bunch of other instruments too. But his voice matched with that, energy that he brought to the stage, how he played the bass. is just it all wraps itself up into Rick Danko. I absolutely love him. I wish I could have seen him. I wish I could have seen the band in any configuration. I wouldn't care if Robbie was there or not. Even after Richard died, to see the three of them, I would have wanted to see the band, and I never got to. But hearing Rick Danko, yeah, I mean, he's up there for me in terms of best singers, especially best harmony. He's probably maybe the greatest harmony vocalist in, modern, music, rock music, I guess. But anyway, Rick Danko with the stash to boot. So there you go.
Fantastic pick, man. Fantastic pick. I agree with absolutely everything you said. I out of that band, I prefer Levon's voice, but I agree with everything you said. You're right. He's got that certain sort of soulful whatever that not a lot of people have. Yeah, I agree. That's a great pick. Yeah, absolutely. Alex.
All right, we will rewind back in time, I think, to one of my favorite bands of all time. And interesting, I'm really curious what I mean, this has been great so far, but I'm also really curious to what you all pick. Because it's funny, I was like going through before the show and was thinking like of all my favorite bands. And I'm like, it's not like they're not good singers. It's just one of those things of like, am I trying to find like the great singer? Like that sort of thing. Is my connection okay? Or am I like dipping out?
You're good. You're good.
You look wonderful.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. So this is one of my favorite bands. It's kind of part of like the big, like early sort of heavy four or whatever you want to call it that people use from Britain, right? If you got your Black Sabbath and your Led Zeppelin and your Uriah Heep. My favorite of all those is probably Deep Purple. And so I'm going to go with Ian Gillan because I think Ian Gillan had the best, my favorite, not best, but best / my favorite scream in terms of like early, late 60s, early 70s hard rock that sort of laid the foundation for so many artists that would follow. Showing this is my favorite Deep Purple in rock. Remember when we used to have those little thumbnails, Rob?
I know. I'm a busy guy, man. What can I say?
Yeah, but I think, specifically there's a ton of them. He was always wailing and screeching and screaming and all these different things. But to me, his like vocal, magnum opus, if you will, is a track off of this record called Child in Time. It's kind of like this long, almost, I don't want to say proggy just because it's long, but a lot of different changes, pretty intense lyrical content about Vietnam at the time. And he is just hitting some notes and some screams that were just amazing for whatever this was, 1970. So, Ian Gillan from Deep Purple is my next pick.
What is the shortest prog rock song that you can think of?
Did you say the shortest prog rock song?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what? To be fair, there were a fair amount of prog bands that were some of the proggiest bands that never really had like long epics. I think of like Gentle Giant, for example, never really tiptoed into like the big long epics or anything like that. All their songs are between, like 3 and 6 minutes or whatever, but
standard-ish. Yeah, I was just being a smartass because I think people do equate prog rock to a long, epic, drawn out, not necessarily In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, but if it's not 6 minutes, it's not prog, I guess. But that's not the case, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's like, I mean, people would call Stairway to Heaven a prog song, because it's long and there's a lot of movements and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I would.
All right, I'm going to show. Let's see if I can show this here. Hold on. Let's see here. Hold on. You guys see that?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Just for you, Alex. There you go.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Okay. I'm not showing these in any particular order. But this is a woman that I think is one of the most distinctive voices ever. And that's Grace Slick.
Sure.
everybody knows White Rabbit, right? And Somebody to Love. I mean, it's a pretty friggin' landmark record, but that voice is just it's powerful, and there's just, I don't know, there's just something different about it. Like, in my mind, there hadn't been a female voice like that before, and I don't know if there's really been one since, to be quite honest. But yeah, I don't have anything more to say. I just think it's anything she's saying, and I absolutely love. I don't have a ton of Jefferson Airplane albums, but great female voice and one of the greatest singers ever, I think.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay. A few comments here. Where are we? Going back to Elvis for a second. Douglas says the first time he heard Elvis is when the movie Dementia 13. My father took me to see it. The song I Got Stung. There you go. Saw Queen in the 70s and 80s. Oh, wow, Music Sanctuary. You've seen a ton of people.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Queen back in the day. Obviously, I was too young, but Freddie was one of a kind. He commanded the audience, and they fully responded. Yeah, that's what you see from all the live stuff. That would have just been. I'd still like to see Queen nowadays, to be quite honest. I mean,
yeah,
a guy that I know is the biggest Queen fan in the world, and he doesn't care if it's Freddie or if it's Paul Rogers or if it's Adam Lambert. It's about the music, and Adam Lambert's not trying to be Freddie Mercury, but he puts a pretty good spin on it, and he says he's absolutely incredible. So I'd go pay to see them. But would have been great to see Freddie. So that's awesome that you got to see them in the 70s and 80s. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hello from Tokyo. Ladies. No, I don't know that there's many ladies watching this evening. This is usually a sausage fest. So Richard says, love Grace Slick. Damn, that lady could sing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Joe.
Okay. I'm going to go off of what I talked about earlier, where I was solely going with front men and or women of the band. Because you started to talk about a lady, and I saw the person I'm going to show here a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't always in the woods for the entire time I was away. First time I got a chance to see her, and she was unbelievably good. And this is the brand new one from Melissa Etheridge. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but it's live from Topeka Correctional Women's Facility. So she took a cue from her buddy Johnny, and in fact, she was telling a story, and there was a bunch of people freaking yapping in my ear beside it, and I was trying to listen. I think he said, "You know what? Sometime you should do at a women's prison." So she did. It kind of plays like a little bit of a greatest hits. There's some new songs on here. She played one live. It is unbelievable, and she was so good. I don't know if we want our singers to sound like they do on the album, but she was note for note 100%, and she was singing. It wasn't recorded. It wasn't anything like that. But beyond her voice being outstandingly good, she is a phenomenal guitar player, which I guess I probably knew, but never really paid attention. Not guitar soloing guitar player, but just a very solid guitar player. And she did do a little bit of soloing, and she had her Ovation round back. She had a couple of different ones. She had about 4 or 5 or 6 different guitars, swapped them in and out, and was unbelievable. And then just to cap it off, for the encore, she stops in the middle of the song and she goes to the drum set, and she doesn't play the drums herself, doesn't do a drum solo herself. Her and her drummer on this not very big set do a duo drum solo, which sounds ridiculous because that's a bit of an oxymoron. But I walked away with that from that show just thinking, man, I am so glad that I got to see that, because she was unbelievably good. Really, really good. And you know me, I mean, I like Kiss. I like all the explosions and all that shit going on. But this show was up there. It was so very good. And it was one of those artists, again, I've listened to her a fair bit, but one of those artists like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Because she's been around. I think the first album was 86, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
yeah, if you get a chance to go and see her, I guess I always say that if you get a chance to go and see them, you have to actually like the performer to go and see them. But she just blew me away. It was so very, very good. So there you go. And that album and this new album is really good too. It's done well. It sounds good. There's some new stuff, and then there's all the hits. So,
and in case we forgot, the surrogate father to her children is David Crosby.
Yes, he is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her kids are, well, I think her kids are 20s now or whatever. So something
Maybe
like that.
Probably late 20s.
I saw Jewel with her as well. I'll say this quickly. I enjoyed it. She admittedly said she wasn't feeling good and her voice wasn't great, which, is too bad to go and see Jewel and have her voice not great. But she still did a really good job. And I'm glad I got to see her. But Melissa was unbelievably good. Unbelievably good.
Cool.
Foolish games. Sam, you're up.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
How do you follow that?
Well,
yeah.
Quickly, I hope.
Well, I've got to throw something in because I'm sure that everybody here is going to be talking kind of in that classic rock vein. Not that Melissa Etheridge is necessarily classic rock, but so that was a good kind of outlier. But near and dear to my heart is the music of the crooners. I love crooners. I love that kind of music. So I would be remiss without talking about Francis Albert Sinatra here. This is Sinatra at the Sands with Count Basie and his orchestra, arranged by Quincy Jones. So there's a lot of star power here. Considered one of the better live albums just across any platform from 1966. But I mean, I like Sinatra from every era. Some people are like, oh, they like the Capitol years when he was, like in the 50s and 60s, where he did a lot of re-recordings of his stuff from the 40s and early 50s. But I like when he was, like the 22, 23-year-old, really skinny kid singing those songs with Tommy Dorsey, I believe, the big band. But I mean, I could have picked Dean Martin. Nat King Cole for sure is way up there for me. I love his voice. And any not just Christmas music, but just Nat King Cole across the board. And listening to the music of the crooners, I've always said reminds me of summertime. So it's always on my mind to think about these guys this time of year, especially July 4th time, listening to big band and the music of Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Dean Martin, all those guys. Just fantastic. There's some great banter here, but I mean, you hear him listen to Sinatra do, a song like The September of My Years. He could interpret a song better than anybody. And there was always talk that when folks were trying to learn English, that a lot of times Frank Sinatra would be the voice that they would play because he enunciated his words so clearly that people could understand what he was saying. And there's no denial as to why his nickname was The Voice. So I've got to go with Frank Sinatra. I've got dozens of Sinatra records. This is the one that I pulled. It was the easiest, but I absolutely love Sinatra. His voice pretty much held up pretty well up until the end. I think his last recording was 1994, and he died a couple years later. But Frank Sinatra, I've got to represent my boys from the Standards. So no question for me.
Great choice.
Good choice. Absolutely. Alex.
All right. So this one we will fall into both singer and frontman territory, as well as getting this out there because I would be murdered if I didn't talk about it. But it's true. This person is an amazing voice, an amazing frontman. I think somebody who, again, is underrated, underappreciated in the sense of that I think the people who would look at him as an amazing singer and frontman are either the biggest fans or other musicians. Like the amount of other frontmen who have like looked at this guy and they're like, we're going to model it after him. Again, the voice is one thing. I think this fits the music perfectly, but the stage antics, the outfits, the way to engage the crowd, the way to command a stage, all those different things, I think is Robin Zander from Cheap Trick. You're welcome, Emma. Thank you. You can go now. But I just again, I think the voice and the frontmanship are two different sort of conversations, but to me it just fits perfectly. I mean, it was cool to see them a couple of months ago, and he's still, it's like early mid 70s now, still has like the coolest like stage get-ups, and I don't know, like he's like one of these people I'm like, damn, Robin fucking he's just cool. He's just fucking cool. And again, just perfect for the music, great band, and an amazing singer, and to me a better frontman than singer, and he's a great singer. So we'll go with old Robin.
He's got good hat game lately, right?
The good best hat game for sure.
For sure. My only complaint with
be careful,
I've seen them 3 times, and they have not done She's Tight once, and that pisses me off because I want to hear it live. No, never. So I don't know if I've seen partial sets, because they've been at twice they were openers, and then once they were at a festival. So She's Tight, and so that's my only complaint. Other than that, I'm good, and that's not a complaint against his performance, or it's just the lack of the song I really, really wanted to hear.
That's interesting. Yeah. I thought that was kind of, I mean, if Emma's watching,
kind of, but
I thought it was a stand. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen them 3 times, and they've played it each time. But but I also know like they are certainly ones to change up their set, especially the beginning parts of their set all the time. So
I just have to keep going till they play the damn song.
No, you gotta keep going.
Yeah. Fearless leader has left, has he?
It's like no. Sam, you're gonna have to come back. Sam, I can't do this alone, sir. I'm gonna need you to fill in the space here, so we don't have like a Maury Povich moment on Wednesday Night Live. Sam, have you ever seen the beautiful gatefold here?
Yeah, show me the gatefold.
Just a beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll help out a little. I think Rick holds the record if there was for picks thrown into the audience, though.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
Exactly. Just here you go. Have some more. Right?
Yeah, on that. Absolutely spectacular. And Rob, you're up, I think.
Oh, perfect timing.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, my back's killing me, so I had to walk around. My apologies. Great pick, by the way. Love Cheap Trick.
Thank you.
Seen him, and I agree with you. Zander is pretty amazing. All right. What am I going to show? I'm going to show this. A woman I've seen in concert twice, and I think is maybe the second best female singer ever.
Second.
And it's a voice that you have to hear in person. You can hear it on a record, but it's a whole other thing when you're in the room. Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
Just powerful, hauntingly beautiful. A million other adjectives to describe her voice, but man, to just be in the room is. I have many favorite concert memories, but hearing Stevie Nicks sing for the first time just absolutely blew me away. So
yeah.
I don't really have a lot. I love her solo stuff. I mean, Belladonna is an incredible record. I don't know if Belladonna is an incredible record. I think it's an incredible record because she puts in a great performance, but there's a whole lot of people behind the scenes on that album.
Oh, sure.
Petty, Don Henley, Mike Campbell, Ben Montench, Buddy Wachtel. Like, there's a whole cast of characters. It's basically Tom Petty's friends and Don Henley's friends
Yeah.
Don Felder's on there.
Sometimes I cry. When did you see them? When you said twice, when did you see them?
I saw Fleetwood Mac the first time on the Say You Will tour, which was the Fleetwood Mac tour without Christine McVie. And then I saw them on the On With the Show, which was when the Rumors era lineup reunited in the 2012, something like that.
Nice. So okay, that's great that you saw. Yeah,
just amazing. I would have loved to have heard her do some of her solo stuff. Like to hear Edge of 17 live would have been just phenomenal. So yeah, Stevie Nicks.
Good call.
I can't talk for 5 minutes about it because I don't have much more to say other than what I've already said. So there you go. Yeah.
Nice watch.
Got some comments here. Hold on. Dan. Richard's agreeing that Sinatra Sands is one of the best live albums from that era.
There you go.
Dan, thanks for joining us, man. He just bought a record by the band White Dog, a new band from the South. Imagine heavy Southern rock.
What is Dan for someone in Canada, especially? I think he's in BC, right? What is the South? Is that just
it's Boston more than a
right? Do Canadians refer as the
Seattle.
South? Yeah, is that Tacoma? Right. But I mean, obviously Southern rock has, but I just always wonder.
As a Canadian, this Southern still counts as what Southern counts to you. I think for me, anyway.
I agree.
I start to think like a Mason-Dixon line, right? And that's Southern.
Well, Sam knows a lot about that. Yeah.
They drove old Dixie down.
I mean, I'm south of Joe considerably, so who knows? But yeah, we colloquially we mean it the same as what you do for the South.
Yeah.
Alex, where's your July 31st shirt?
That's a good comment. It's a good comment.
He numbers them every day, so he knows which day to do laundry.
I mean, these were the MGK Boston shirts, so from his party. So that's Dan's got a good comment. Yeah, thank you, Dan.
So Richard's asking, is White Dog Molly Hatchet-ish sounding?
I'm traveling down the road.
This sounds like an episode of the Drunk Muppets.
My dream show.
This is the Drumpets.
Halfway down the stairs.
or old washed out Fraggles or something.
What a great band name.
Dude, there it is. For your Grateful Dead tribute band.
Do you not remember Fraggle Rock, Joe?
Oh
yeah. I mean, you're too old, but
yeah, I know. Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah, Sam, what about Schlong Strange Trip?
Nice.
Okay, getting this train back on track. Richard saying Stevie Nicks for sure. Stevie's voice has aged like fine Betty Davis verbal thrashing.
Oh my!
That's one way to put it.
I love that song.
I wish that Stevie would put aside her shit with Lindsay so that they could perform again together, but whatever.
I'm gonna have to run out of money first.
Yeah, I think so. It's a shame. The Belladonna Mo-Fi is a great sounding pressing. I'm not an audiophile guy. I'm quite happy with my regular repress that I got over there, but that's cool to know that it does sound good. I couldn't tell the difference. So the South 38 Special, Skinner, Molly Hatchet, Blackfoot, and whatever Sam's calling his new band.
That's right.
Atlanta and New Mexico. That's pretty South.
Yeah.
Sure.
Alex's wrestling gimmick, the walking calendar.
I don't know, man.
Sure, whatever. Joe, what do you got for us?
Sure. Up next, at the beginning, I said I tried to pick guys where their names weren't in the band, so I don't think this counts, but it kind of counts. And because it's Slash, but then it's also Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. So
there's no rules here. You can say whatever you want. So
all right. So then I'm just going to go with Miles Kennedy and not explain it. But just really good. Alter Bridge as well. Obviously, he's in. Fantastic voice. I think very versatile. I have not seen. I've seen Slash and I've seen parts of the Conspirators. I've not seen Miles Kennedy, so I can't talk to his stage presence. But always a voice that I've always really enjoyed, both again with this iteration and then also in Alter Bridge. So yeah, just this one that I always appreciate. And on a side note, the new Slash album, the blues album, is good. I like it. Some good collaborations. We just got it in, and I listened to it the other day. The Orgy of the Damned. There's your band name if you want.
I heard because God, what song did I hear on the radio? I guess it's one of the hits I heard on the radio. It's pretty good. I forget who the singer is on it.
Well, they're playing. I don't know if they're playing necessarily the one with Brian Johnson a little bit, and then
That's
Stephen
the one
on harmonica. So yeah, the album's good. Again, it's Slash on guitar playing blues songs, and he found good guys to sing with them. So
yeah,
what's not to like? It's pretty easy not to screw that album up. So
yeah.
Me,
Sam. I know why I can never remember who's next.
Well, it's an album by The Who.
Who?
Anyway, I'm going to go with this again. It's another, probably could be a raw pick as well. But for me, it wouldn't be a list of best vocalists without talking about that guy right there.
I didn't pick it because I knew you would.
Brian Wilson, who not only is one of my favorite singers, one of my favorite artists, just as a solo guy. I mean, to me, the two songs that you take to listen to Brian Wilson's voice are Caroline No from this record, and then Surf's Up, that would end up on the Surf's Up record, but it was supposed to be for Smile, the follow-up. But to hear just the stripped-back version of Brian doing Surf's Up on piano, it doesn't get much better than that. To me, him at his absolute peak vocally and just everything hit at that point. Unfortunately, it also, his vocals from that point would deteriorate very drastically between 67 and 69. I mean, you listen to a song like Do It Again, you can even tell his voice has changed there. But I love Brian Wilson. Everybody that knows me knows that. It's not a surprise. I could have picked Carl too. Carl has a fantastic voice. God only knows my favorite song of all time. But Brian, there's something about Brian's voice. I love that falsetto. It's just so good. I mean, hearing a song like Don't Worry Baby, him taking the lead. And then even like on the Alex kind of joked about Blue Christmas earlier, but to hear Blue Christmas on the Beach Boys Christmas record, that was like kind of a turning point for Brian as a vocalist, which was 64, I think, so 2 years prior to this. And to hear that and just how he grew from that point to Pet Sounds is just phenomenal in every facet. But yeah, Brian Wilson for me, easy pick. I mean, he to me, he could do no wrong except for all the drugs. But anyway, Brian Wilson.
Richard's saying he doesn't agree. He says it's way too expressive. So he's going to pass on that.
Expensive.
Oh, expensive.
Yeah, he's talking about. I think they were discussing the Van Halen 2 One Step, and I think.
Oh well, then fuck. I'm not even paying attention. Then fuck. Fire me as the host. Someone else take over. All right, Alex.
Oh, right, me. Okay, where to? I still got a couple of them for honorables or whatever, but trying to think of where to go next. We'll go with. Personal favorite. I don't know if there are any metalheads out there watching. I will play that. Play the metal card. This is a band I've been into for a while, but I've been really into them a lot lately. Been listening to them a ton, and this is someone who I think has one of the most distinct and different voices in American heavy metal like history. 1000%. I've talked about this band before, but I want to talk about it again because again, I'm like obsessed with them right now, and I've been playing them all the time. And the voice of John Oliva from the band Sabotage is insane to me. It is like this. I mean, it's heavy music, right? I think this is their fifth record, called Gutter Ballet from 1989. One of my prized possessions, Rob. This is an original press. Okay.
Is it signed?
It is not, unfortunately. But John Oliva. So the band really started with John Oliva singing, and then his brother Chris Oliva on guitar, who died in 1994. But he has this wail and screech and like gurgle, yeah, like curling word. You're like, oh my god, you'd love to hear me do it. It's yeah, a little bit. I don't even know how to like explain. It is, again, this is heavy music. This band was never huge. I wish they were, because I think the talent in the band, well, of course I joke, they were never huge. They would, in around 1996, blow up, because they would essentially at that point turn from Sabotage, a, you know, not huge, but a aggressive American heavy metal band with a just blood curling scream vocalist, into arguably the biggest Christmas act in the world, because this is what became Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So in fact, I always show like the fun fact is that, you know, the biggest song the Trans-Siberian Orchestra was known for was Christmas Eve Sarajevo 1922, whatever the number is. But like, that's, you know, it turned into, coming from like Carol of the Bells and God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, that was a Sabotage song that was on their record Dead Winter Dead that came out before. So it's like, that's actually a Sabotage song. But the point is, I think in terms of metal vocalists that are just so different, so just weird, and just I don't even know how to explain his voice. I'm going to go with John Oliva from Sabotage, because I love him and I love them, and I've been listening to them a lot. Thank you.
Can't stand it. I know you're playing it. Oh.
Wow.
Richard's asking if there's no love for Geddy Lee's Squirrel on Crack vocals. I'm sure Joe might show it. I don't know. But
well, Richard, you know, we're going to choose free will. So, you know,
I'm not here. I'll spoiler alert. I'm not going to show it, but I don't have a problem with Geddy Lee's voice.
Nor do I.
Yeah.
Nor do I. Here's the comment I missed about the Van Halen two-step, to which Richard responded, too expensive, and he'll pass. Willie DeVille had a unique voice. Brian Wilson was practically a death metal singer around 76. Richard would never shit on Pet Sounds. Don't shit on pets either. They don't appreciate that, even though they shit on our lawns. John Oliva had a voice full of character, like an Alice Cooper at his meanest sounding.
There's definitely some gravel in that throat.
Sabotage records are too expensive.
Sure are. That's absolutely the truth. Yeah, because I mean, they weren't reissued very much. They were just reissued, and each of them is like $50. So, yeah, that's $50 American, boys.
Ooh.
Confederate money.
Yeah.
Too rich for our blood up here. All right. What am I going to show next? I'm going to show. I might steal Sam's thunder, and I don't want to steal Sam's thunder, but are you gonna show him, Sam, or am I going to show him?
Oh, sorry, not Tom Petty.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it is.
Okay, so I can show him. All right.
Show that Petty.
I was joking.
Tom Petty. Here's why I included Tom Petty. Does he have a great voice? I don't know that I'd call it a great voice. What I would call it is arguably one of the most distinctive voice. You hear Tom Petty, and every single person that's ever heard a Tom Petty song knows it's Tom Petty. So that's what I love about it. He writes amazing songs, but that's not what we're talking about. You know, the Heartbreakers had tons of hits, and I would have loved to have seen the Heartbreakers live. From anything that I've seen, he looks like a captivating frontman, but that voice is like a signature, right? I get Mike Campbell kind of sounds like Tom Petty, but their songwriting partners were in the same band forever and we're from the same hometown. I get it, but no one sounds like Tom Petty. So for that reason, I mean, he's up there because it's just, it's him. And it's enjoyable to listen to because it's just so different than anybody else out there. So there you go. Anything to add, Sam? You're the Tom Petty expert.
His biggest inspiration was Bob Dylan, if that helps.
No, we all make mistakes in life.
You know what is funny though? I was joking because like when I was like because like I think it's clear that like
I mean, I said nobody sounds like Tom Petty, but here we go.
Copyright.
Don't sing anymore. The algorithm's going to think you're Tom Petty, and I'm going to get a strike.
You're going to have like a Bryan Adams moment all over again.
Holy shit! Please don't.
Yeah, no, that's a fascinating pick. I'm not saying that like, oh, I wouldn't be able to distinguish Bob Dylan's voice with Tom Petty's voice, but I think when I hear Tom do his thing, you know, Bob Dylan is my first like thought of like, oh, that's definitely where he got that sort of thing.
That and Roger McGuinn, yeah, the two big ones.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay. Tokyo Record. Dude, I bought that record last night, 12 hours ago, and here I am showing it. So that's you hear the Tom Petty coffee story. No, do you know the Tom Petty coffee story, Sam?
I do not.
All right. Well,
coffee doesn't
Tokyo,
mean coffee.
if you want to tell us what that is, we'd be curious to hear it. Don't try to break down Tom's voice too much. Yeah.
Tokyo's name is Tokyo's name. Tokyo Record Star. His name is Brian, by the way.
Is it? All right.
Yeah,
I've watched his video. I'm terrible with people's names. I've watched his videos, many of them. That's the funny thing. I'm in sales and I can't remember a person's name to save my life. But I could get introduced to a customer and have their card in my hand, and when I walk out of their business, I don't remember what the hell their name was. Terrible with names. If my name had more than 3 letters, I'd forget what it was.
That's why the name you sing them.
What's that?
That's why the name you sing them.
And there you go. Damn the Torpedoes is a 5 out of 5. Even more impressive, it's also a 10 out of 10. There you go. Yeah, it's a damn good record.
It is.
Not your favorite though, right? Sam, yours is what? Full Moon Fever?
Yeah, but mostly because of a nostalgic thing. Right. If I was going to go by purely probably based on a record from start to finish, probably the older I get, Wildflowers. But yeah, I mean, Full Moon Fever, that's the nostalgic one that it's hard for me to put anything above it.
Sure. Can't argue with that.
Nope.
Doesn't round 6 or whatever the hell we're on. So, we got one more comment here. Petty punched a wall right before the Hard Promises tour and had to cancel lots of dates.
Yep, he broke a bunch of bones in his hand.
The moral of the story is if you're going to punch a wall, make sure you miss the stud.
Which you'll notice when the older he got, you can notice it was the hand that he actually played like with the frets, and his hand kind of shook because there was some nerve damage.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Joe, you got another pick for us?
I do. I'm going to stay a little current-ish or whatever, and I don't know the exact numbers, and I could have probably looked them up, but we all know we're all familiar with the Foo Fighters and the number of hits that they produce, et cetera, et cetera. Not that a band's quality necessarily relates to the hits, but a band that doesn't get talked about a whole bunch, and I really like them, and I've seen them a bunch of times, and again, it's influenced my decision here. But a band with as many hits as the Foo Fighters is Shinedown. I saw them first time I saw them open for Nickelback. Wait for applause.
Why would you do that?
This is like a butt rock convention you were at.
Man.
Yeah, we won't get into Nickelback, but anyway, I really like these guys. I think that Brent has one of those voices that can be very powerful if he needs it to be, and be very subtle if he also needs it to be. I like him. He's a great front man. Again, for me, they write good songs. They're kind of they're kind of a little all over the place in the songs that they write, but I think always a good message as well. If you listen to a lot of their songs, I think they've got a little bit of a message, and that's not necessarily something that I look for in an album, but if it's there, that's not a bad thing either. There's too much bullshit in the world these days, so if there's a good positive message to be had in a song, it doesn't hurt my feelings. So yeah, Brent Smith from Shinedown, and I just happened to pick this one because it was close. So there you go. That's mine.
Since you showed the vinyl there, is that a vinyl storage solution sleeve that it's in there, Joe?
Actually, I think this one is, Rob. Yes, vinyl storage solutions.
Look at that.
Tell us more, please.
Guys, if you want nice record sleeves and quality inner and outer sleeves, go to vinylstoragesolutions.ca. Use the promo code Northern10 to get 10% off your order. Just saying.
Excellent.
I got to get that in there. I'm contractually obligated. Actually, I'm not, but I just say that. Sam, what do you got?
I am going to go kind of a dark horse, if you will. And no, it's not George Harrison. Anyway, you like that?
I get it. I need that like bump sound effect. I gotta start building a sound effect library. That's what I got to do.
I'm gonna go with this guy right here, Pepe Le Pew, as Alex said.
Pepe,
also known as Pokey Lafarge.
Pepe Le Frog.
If you like, I mean, he is one of these guys. He's one of my favorites out there, still touring, like in like the modern realm. But he started doing almost like jug band kind of music. Like he had influences from some blues, Hank Williams, Jimmy Rogers, that kind of stuff. But if you want to put him into a box early on, especially vocally, kind of put him with like a Leon Redbone kind of guy. That ragtime kind of sound. And he obviously pulls from like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. And so like his first few records were like that. And then he put out a record called what was it called? Rock Bottom Rhapsody. And it's almost like a rockabilly kind of record. And then he put out a couple more records like this one. This is In the Blossom of Their Shade. He just put out the newest one called Rumba Country. And if you see on the wall behind me, he's even got a spot in my living room. But if you like that, throwback kind of sound, if you like somebody that's ever changing as an artist, I mean, this record is more on it's very summery, very very breezy, kind of island sounding. He's got some great it's just kind of upbeat kind of music. This one's pretty cool because it came with a little 45 with it as well. But if you like that kind of stuff, check it out. I think he goes in so many different styles that it's going to be kind of hard not to find something that you like. And he's just such a unique artist. I've seen him 3 times and he's never disappointed. I've met him a couple of times. He's a really nice guy. Have a signature in my house, but that's neither here nor there. But Pokey Lafarge for me, he's got such a unique voice, throwback sound, but he's also keeping it fresh as well. So check it out.
Is his name really Pokey? Tell me that's got to be a stage name.
No, it was a nickname that his grandmother gave him when he was a kid. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking there's no way someone would do that on purpose.
No, he's out of St. Louis is where he calls home. So he's got a lot of that influence, the St. Louis sound as well.
Gotcha. Alex.
Okay. We'll do another, I guess, maybe an obvious one again for, I guess, hard rock and metal fans. I think, again, just the sort of combination of perfect voice, a actual classically trained vocalist, I think opera or something like that. A very, very short man with a very, very big voice that had his hands in a lot of different projects, and his voice was good up until his death several years ago now. But I would
hope it wouldn't be good after his death.
That's fair. Ronnie James Dio. This is my favorite. I mean, he's got a ton of great records that he's on, but this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. This is Rainbow Rising. He did the first 3 Rainbow records with Ritchie Blackmore on vocals before ultimately joining Black Sabbath and then doing his own solo thing and so forth and so on. Before this, he was in a band called Elf. And so his career was pretty, he did a lot of things before he was a solo artist. in 1983. So, yeah, I mean, I guess this is an obvious pick. I think most people in that sort of metal hard rock sphere would point to Ronnie as just one of the best vocalists ever. I think to me, though, side 2 of this record is Stargazer, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. Dan, I wasn't talking about Dirk Schneider. Dan will get it. Stargazer is one of my favorite songs of all time. Just so emotional, amazing. But the whole side 2 here, Stargazer and A Light in the Black, are just like incredible. I mean, the whole band's amazing, but to me, it is just like Ronnie at his best and perfect. So, yeah, Rainbow Rising, Ronnie James Dio. Absurd, amazing, love him. Rest in peace, Ronster.
All right.
By the way, sorry, this sleeve I'm using is not a Vinyl Storage Solutions sleeve.
That's a thrift shop special.
You know where you can get Vinyl Storage Solution sleeves? VinylStorageSolutions.ca.
That's a Canadian company. I'm not paying for that shipping.
They have, if you spend a certain amount, it's free shipping. I don't know what that amount is.
There's no such thing as free shipping, Rob.
Well,
they're getting there's no such thing as a free ham sandwich. So,
well, Amy Sagar.
Nevertheless, it's my turn now. My turn now. So, this might be one not a lot of folks know, but I would be remiss if I didn't show this woman. Grace Potter was an amazing singer. So she put out 4 or 5 albums as Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. And then she went solo with this record in 2015. Although all of the Nocturnals are on this album, it's a solo album, and she blew up the band because she's an idiot. And cheated on her drummer husband and then divorced him and married her producer that produced this album, and her sound went in a different direction. Up to and including this album, her voice was phenomenal. Wicked stage presence. And none of the bullshit, just a band on stage. I've seen them live. Just a great balls out rock show. Has the crowd engaged from the first minute. Her voice is just powerful, and she's got a big range and just phenomenal, sort of 70s kind of blues flavored rock. But, the albums came out from like 2005 to like, I don't know, 2014 or something like that. And she was amazing. Since she's gone solo, she has clearly not taken care of her voice. She sounds like shit now. She's got 3 solo albums. And while the last one kind of tries to sound like the Nocturnals, and it almost gets there, her voice is just, it's rough now. And she's drank a lot, she smoked a lot, and she's done a lot of drugs, and it shows, which is unfortunate. But any of those Grace Potter and the Nocturnal albums, up to and including Midnight, which is technically a solo record, amazing. I said no one sounds like Grace Slick, and I still mean that, but this is someone that kind of approaches that sort of magnitude of range and vocal presence. So I've always been a huge fan. I buy her albums now kind of out of obligation, hoping that she returns to form, but her voice is shot. But if you can get if you get any of the Nocturnal albums, they are awesome. So there you go. Not that I expect anyone to know that. It's not a very well-known band. They're out of Vermont. So good group. We're a good group. Okay, a few comments here. DCM says, I love Pokey's self-titled album, and Dan says that cover is something else. Kenny out Hammock Jack Johnson.
It's another good comment.
The new Deep Purple album is getting rave reviews. You heard it yet, Alex?
I've spot checked it. I don't know if I would go far as saying rave reviews, but I think it's gotten decent reviews from a bunch of people who are like 80 and and a guitarist who's like 40. But I think they are doing really good latter career music. Yes.
Douglas says, "Long live Ronnie James Dio." Is the shipping in the U.S. based on a flat rate or the weight of the packaging? It doesn't matter. I have no idea. I don't know.
It's about it's weight. It's weight.
Is it weight?
Yeah.
No, it's yeah. I guess it is. Yeah, it's a weight, but they do have if you spend a certain amount, they pay your shipping. But I don't know. I don't work for the company. I just get a commission if you use my code. So
I think it's $75. I think.
Yeah, they did a promo a little while ago where it was only $55 to get prepaid shipping. So they run
how many sleeves is that? Will that last you a lifetime of collecting?
No. Well, it depends what you buy, right?
Oh, I buy records like they're going out of style, Rob. You know that.
It's true. It's true.
The
cover needs more Grace Potter. I mean, back in the day, I would have said, yeah, but now who knows? Carol Pope of Rough Trade. Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I like Carol.
Yeah, we got time to go around the horn once or twice more. So, do you got any more there, Joe?
I do. I'm going to stick with the fair sex. I'm going to do a twofer.
Twofer.
First one's going to be someone who unfortunately was going to be out on tour, but isn't anymore because I don't know if she didn't just get cancer, but anyway, she is getting cancer treatment. And that is the Wilsons, and more specifically, Anne. You talk about rock and roll, you talk about being able to hold their own against the boys. I think that Ann Wilson definitely fits the bill and has for a long time. I don't know how much stock I put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the bands that go in, but you have to be able to pull it off if you're going to put Led Zeppelin in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and do a cover of their song. So, I think, and I think they did it admirably as well. So there's the first one. And then vastly different, but still so very strong and such a phenomenal singer is Annie Lennox for me. And again, different, obviously, than Ann Wilson in style, but Annie, again, from Would I Lie to You and that thread, and then into some of her solo stuff as well, where it's it's a little more.
Someone step on a dog's tail or something.
But again, Annie could rock if she wanted to, but again, some of the, like I say, some of this like Broken Glass and that where it's a little more feminine, if that's a proper word. That's probably not the right way to put it, but for me, Annie's always been great, and her and Dave have always done a good job, and I assume maybe still out there doing it. I haven't necessarily heard from her as of late, but no.
I think we need a moment to appreciate Dave's hair there. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good. They basically they took a picture of my hair from about 10 years ago and they superimposed it. No, that's not the case. So there you go. A couple of vastly different styles, but two pretty decent fair sex rock and rollers.
I agree with both. I saw Hart was on Stern not so long ago, and she was sitting in a chair to sing, and I thought, I didn't know about the cancer thing, and I thought, I wonder, obviously she is feeling the effects of age or whatever, and I thought, I wonder how she's going to sound, and then she opened her mouth, and I went, holy shit, she has still got it. Sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Still sounds great. Exactly. So hopefully good news for down the line. Whether there will be any more performances of Anne and Nancy together. I know Nancy was doing some stuff on her own and then they got back together, but hopefully we see Anne and Nancy one more time at least anyway.
Yeah, that'd be great. Sam.
There's so many here that I've got that I could choose because they're all near and dear to my heart. I've got to go with this guy just because it's me and I have to. because this guy uses not only is it
from the county fair.
You're an idiot. Van Morrison.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. You've killed my thunder. He would use his voice like a instrument. I mean, he had that jazz background, obviously, and this album is 100%. Really, this is a jazz album. This is not a rock. This is not a pop record. But I mean, you listen to his voice doing like he'll makes his voice do like like saxophone sounds. Like he's like traditional like scatting. Like he does that kind of stuff. He's done.
So does Alex when he's doing his business in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, I mean Van Morrison to me, I mean he's right up there for the best. So there you go.
What pressing you got there, Sam?
It's a reissue given to me by the great Aaron Mutha Alamer.
Nice.
This is a 2017. Who did this? One of those people.
When he sings Comfortably Numb from The Wall, when they did that live version where it was a little bit of everybody, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I love Van Morrison. So Sam actually. So one of our first conversations, actually, back when I was a young viewer, and I forget, I was watching when it was you and Rob and Glenn, and I don't know what the topic of the stream was, but somehow you were talking about like not later career Van Morrison stuff, but like late 70s, early 80s Van Morrison stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see those all the time. I don't know what to get. It's like I see like Wavelength, like all that type of stuff all the time. But I was like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like, to me, it was like Astral Weeks through Highway, Hard Nose the Highway, maybe.
Yeah.
Or probably Vita and Fleece.
Vita and Fleece.
I was like, that's the crucial period. And then did you say Common One?
No, Beautiful Vision's my favorite of the 80s. And then like Avalon Sunset I love as well. It's right up there for me.
Because I was watching, we probably most of us know David Atkinson. He was doing he ranked his like top 20 or 25 albums of 1980. And his number one was Common One.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I couldn't remember if that's the one that you told me about or not. So yeah.
No, it would have been Beautiful Vision, but I mean, there are some great standalone tracks. I mean, like the album, Wavelength is fantastic. That's got the song Kingdom Hall on it, which is like classic Van Morrison. All of those albums, none of them are like, none of these songs are good. He has one banger on every single one of them. The exception that I've said a million times is the album, What's It Gonna Take from 2021 or 2. That's his very political album. And it was just like a very, very crotchety album. But
it's the best word to describe it.
It's so crotchety. Yeah. I've listened to it once. I'll never listen to it again, but I have it because I need it because I'm weird.
Dan wants to know, is that cover beat up or is that what it actually looks like?
No, that's how
it's got to be what it looks like, right? It's 2017.
Yeah. And Van Morrison hated it. No, it's always looked like this. Like it's like this like creepy like Van Morrison like peeking through this like submarine.
I love it when you pet him like that.
Well, that's how you treat Van.
Yeah.
It's like a tree. It's like a tree behind him there, Dan. There's like leaves coming through.
Puts the lotion in the basket.
Yeah.
The hose.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. No, that is funny. I always see that record and I'm always like, is that like where or no? It's like that's how it's supposed to be.
There you
go.
Let me just
county fair.
Let me get a couple comments in here. Where are we here? Dan says Mark Bowl and Ray Davies sounded the same a lot of the time with that vibrato thing they did. Yep. Hart just got back together at the Super Bowl. Harriet Wheeler of the Sundays has a stunning voice. Do you guys know the Sundays?
Know the name.
Yeah, don't know them. Check out their Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic album from 1990. If you haven't, their cover of the Stones' Wild Horses is stellar. Ah, okay. Cool.
Okay.
How is Jason doing? Jason's doing good. Jason is busy. I was texting with him today. I sent him the link in case he wanted to join us, but for some reason, he has these stupid priorities called work and family that he thinks are more important than YouTube. So, I mean, we don't need that kind of people around here. So, we kicked them to the curb. No, I'm kidding. Jason's welcome to join us anytime. He's a busy guy. So, but he's doing well, and I'll pass along that you were asking. Alex.
Me. Well, my last one, I mean, my favorite genre probably, and a lot of people would associate, is I'm a big prog fan, as you all know, the creator of the Prog Tag 2024 that Rob so kindly participated in. The only one of you all that participated in it, because support means something to him. Support and brotherhood. Thank you,
absolutely. And I wanted to show my diverse Prog collection.
Well, of course,
sort of like a man's ear. Yeah,
it was like straight out of the RNC. So here we go.
I still maintain that was the most fun video I've made in the 285 videos I've made. I loved it.
Brilliant.
I love it.
So anyways, but I started thinking about, my favorite prog bands, and I was like, it's like I just, it's not like I don't like the singers. I just don't put those singers up, right? Like, I love Peter Gabriel to death. Peter Gabriel is one of my favorite artists ever, but like Phil Collins is a better singer than Peter Gabriel, and just in terms of like voicing and express, like all that type of stuff. Now, Peter has, he's obviously much more artsy and expressive in a different way, but so I started thinking of like all my favorite prog bands. I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, John Anderson from Yes is fine. It's like, I got no problems with these people. But I wanted to give a prog band here, and I also wanted to give some love to the ladies as well. And I think when you talk about progressive rock and then female singers, the go-to, the best, is Annie Haslam from Renaissance. Renaissance falls into sort of what I would call like tier 2 or tier 3 of like UK progressive rock, but one of the only bands that had a singer. The history of this band is a little interesting. Keith Rolfe from the Yardbirds actually started this band in the late 60s. A lot of lineup changes. It sort of came to front of, in the mid 70s, early to mid 70s, they became this progressive rock band. And in my opinion, put together like a streak of like 5 perfect progressive rock albums that, they certainly had a different approach to progressive rock. It's not necessarily odd, crazy time signatures, but it's certainly long instrumental passages. It's huge orchestration. It's they partner with orchestras, all that type of stuff. So I'm showing their live album from Carnegie Hall. This was like at the perfect point in their career from 1976. I would relate Annie Haslam as a vocalist would be like if Karen Carpenter was like a prog vocal in a prog band. Like that to me is what this sounds like beautiful, amazing vocals, but over like 24-minute songs with orchestras. So big fan of Renaissance and Annie Haslam. She's the man. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Thank you.
The wool man. All right. I'm gonna do a twofer to wrap this up. This guy is, I don't think, known for being a great singer, but I've included him because I love his voice, and like Tom Petty, it's incredibly distinctive. And when I was a young pup, half the time I didn't know what the fuck he was saying, but I love how he sings, and that's John Fogerty.
Oh.
Not a good singer in the conventional sense, but just a great rock and roll performer. And I spent a lot of my teenage years going, there's a bathroom on the right? What? That doesn't make sense. But again, like I said, like Tom Petty, it's very distinctive, and you always know it's him. And so it's kind of the signature, that and the guitar riffs are the signature that makes a CCR song a CCR song. So for that reason, it's one of those voices when I first got into music that really struck me as being something a little bit different. So always been a big John Fogerty fan. And no conversation about singers or front people for me would be complete without, and Sam will disagree with me, the greatest female singer of all time, Linda Ronstadt. I know she doesn't do it for Sam, but for me, that voice is just, no. She's had a, kind of an odd career. There was the stuff she did in the 70s and the very early 80s, which was awesome. And then she did some of that stuff in the 80s where she did like the Mexican stuff. And no offense to Mexicans or Spanish influential type people, just not my cup of tea. And, she did that Trios album with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. Not my thing. But, the 70s stuff and, the first couple years of the 80s, she did some phenomenal albums. Didn't write much. I mean, pretty much everything is covers. But, man, I don't think there's a song that she didn't blow me away on. It just phenomenal. And sings my favorite song of all time. Her cover of the Rolling Stones' Tumbling Dice is my favorite song ever that I've ever heard. So just an absolute shame that, she can no longer sing because of some health problems. But, a treasure when she was performing. So, there you go. That's my twofer. So
she's one of those artists that we always have lots of, well, not that we've been around forever. We've got lots of her albums in the shop, and I wonder why they're there, because they are so very good. It's a matter of just, here, listen to this, and then, I'll give you your money back if you don't like it.
Because
I think
they're always $2 and $3 and nobody buys them.
Right.
I think, but it's interesting though. I mean, this is just a great, I guess, idea for like a general conversation later, is like the female and male vocalist is just not a genre or selection that a lot of music vinyl collectors are in. It's the same reason Dan Fogelberg records sit there. Dan Fogelberg's amazing. You know what I mean? But like, his stuff's going to be right there by Linda's stuff. Cause I just don't think that it's the vocalist, right? It's like, it's not a band. It is, but it's not, it's not quite singer-songwriter-ish enough. It's, you know who else is great that I fucking love? Barry Manilow, but people are not, gooping their pants to go buy Barry Manilow records. You say Joe might?
No, I said I should hope not.
Oh, I thought you were like Joe might, and I was like,
well, you never know. He might. He might. Be
I do like Barry. I know. I like Barry. I'm not sure if he's pants goopable worthy, but yeah. But is that a word? I don't know if that's a word. Well, yeah, but you're right.
Back in the day,
another artist that sits in the bins that doesn't do anything. But anyway,
yeah.
Dan's saying, don't ever listen to CCR live in Europe. Yeah, it's horrible.
I think I had that record. Yeah.
It's pretty damn bad. No. So I'm going to say I'm not going to mention it tonight because apparently I mention it all the time. So no, I'm not going to say it. Does it matter who mastered Linda's records? No, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not an audiophile and I can't hear shit. So doesn't matter to me. Did the Jays get clobbered again? Oh boy, did they ever. I think they lost 10-5 today. They are an unmitigated disaster. However, I have to do my Jays rant because someone brought it up and, the public wants to know. I have said for months that they just need to blow this team up. And we did an okay job of getting rid of a lot of people before the trade deadline. We traded half the damn team yesterday, which is great. Kiner Falefa's gone. Danny Jansen's gone. Justin Turner's gone. Kevin Kiermaier's gone. Jimmy Garcia's gone.
Kikuchi.
Kikuchi's gone. We got rid of a lot of guys. I'm sad to see Danny Jansen go because now we're stuck with that fat ass Alejandro Kirk as our catcher, and I can say that as a fat guy. So,
and an ass or no?
Well, maybe. So it's good that we got rid of a lot of folks. Unfortunately, I wish we would have dealt Vladdy and Bo and just really blown up the whole team. And while we're at it, get rid of Schneider and Atkins and Shapiro. We made it halfway. We got rid of a bunch of guys who would have been free agents at the end of the year. We would have got nothing for them. So got a bunch of minor leaguers to put into our system. So I give us a B- on our trades. So it's better than nothing. So yes, we traded a few to the Mariners. I'm sad to see Kiermaier go, but he's done. He's retiring at the end of the season. So at least we got somebody for him. So lucky to find Ronstadt and Fogelberg at Value Village these days. I was at an antique market on the weekend looking for records, and every other bin I looked in had Linda Ronstadt records, all of which I had already. So
yeah,
because you always see the same ones. It's always this one here, Heart Like a Wheel and Simple Dreams, and the one where she's got the roller skates on. I can't remember what the name of that one is. You always see the same ones. So Vladdy would have netted a few major prospects. Yeah, he would have. I would have preferred Bogo more than anything else, but whatever. Maybe we'll deal them in the offseason and actually get somebody of substantial value. That would be nice. Who knows? FEA, welcome, sir. We're almost done. We're wrapping this up, but I'm still glad you joined us anyway. Let's do what we always do because we're nearing the end of this thing. You want to go around the horn and talk about, you got anything that you just put out you want to tell people about? Anything you got coming up you want to tell folks about? Anything you want to tell folks about in general? Joe?
My honorable mentions, because I didn't pull one out, is the Bee Gees, because you can't necessarily pick a Gibb brother. But so there's that. And then the one that I was saving to get, well, there was two I was saving. So I want to get to him. Chris Cornell, whether it's Audio Slave or whether it's Soundgarden, more Audio Slave for me. And then Bon Scott. Again, I picked a lot of guys based off of showmanship, front man, things like that. Unique voice and very cool. Other than that, once again, I have got nothing going on my channel because I've got the store channel going and I've done a few things on there. But other than that, again, it's nice to come here and hang with you guys and do that. And I will continue to do that. I'm not camping for a bit. I'm going to Minneapolis, like I said. But other than that, I'll be around for at least a couple of weeks. So, there you go.
Check out On a Vinyl, folks. Joe's store channel.
Yeah, we had a few people that were in the chat last week sign up there. I mean, I still do videos. They're more about stock and things that are in the store, like I bought a collection or here's the new arrivals and things like that. So, they're not crazy in depth, but if you just love my face and want to watch it for 5 to 10 minutes at a time, join up, sign up.
If the 2 hours tonight wasn't enough, go over to
what's the name of the channel, Joe?
On a Vinyl Records. So ONA Vinyl Records. The mother company is On AV, so On Audio Video, and I just wanted to take a little play on that, so I did the On a Vinyl thing.
Music in the House is saying, Joe, if you're in Minneapolis, hit up Mill City Sound in Hopkins, Minnesota for a fun dig.
I will. I get one day away from the ladies that they're going to do some stuff that I'm going to go record shopping and pinball playing. So I appreciate the heads up, and I will make sure that I check them out.
There you go. Sam, what do you got cooking?
Nothing really cooking necessarily. I've put up about 3 videos this week. The last one I put up this morning. I saw Christopher Cross last night. It was a free show that a former coworker gave to me. Something came up and she just gave me the tickets. Really cool to do that because he's not somebody I'd ever would have seen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have paid money to see Christopher Cross, but it was a great time. Before that, I did a semi-response to James Griffith's channel. He did it wasn't really necessarily a thread, but it kind of became this thing where he talked about great ending songs from mediocre albums, essentially. And I've went through my channel. I couldn't think of mediocre albums that I was like, I like these albums. So I just picked 10 great closing songs And then I know my buddy Rich Strickler did the same thing later that day. So I did those. I just got some, as always, gifts from our friend Steve, All the World's a Stage. So I put up one of those never-ending VCLT videos. But I do have something potentially happening with Rich, a series that we talked about. I talked to him yesterday off YouTube, and we kind of ran some ideas by each other to get another series going between the two of us. So, and if you haven't seen, I did a interview with one of the members of Low Straight Jackets, who are a surf rock group.
That was great, Sam, by the way.
Appreciate it. It ended up being an episode of the Vinyl Community Podcast, but the video is up, and the video is worth watching because he has his luchador mask on. If you don't know Low Straight Jackets, if you like the Ventures and stuff like that, you'll like the Straight Jackets. They currently back Nick Lowe and have for over 10 years or so. So we talked about Nick Lowe, talked about the new record that's coming out later this fall. Had some good stories with him. Really quick, half hour, just a fun time. So that's still on my channel. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Cool. I've been away, so I'm way behind on watching everything. And no spoiler alert, but is Zombie Zoo one of those album enders that you put in there?
No.
Because I love that album.
I love it too.
Song. Yeah.
Love it.
No, it is not. I tried to. I did have one album that's like a standard like classic album, but I tried to avoid stuff like Won't Get Fooled Again and stuff like that. So it's a Sam list, but
fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm with you on Zombie Zoo, Joe. I love it.
Yeah.
Alex, what's happening?
Keeping at the Zombie Zoo. No, just the stuff, right? A lot of trying to.
Alex had a video blow up. I'll say that.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would say blow up.
I'll say it. I'll say it.
Okay, thank you. A fairly successful video from. I'll keep.
Wrap it up.
Oh no, yeah. A successful video from my humble standards, but just a lot of buying records and answering contests and threads and all that type of stuff. Not a whole lot of original ideas that come out of my stupid head, but that's okay because it doesn't have to. So just come on down, hang out. The water's fine. So.
Will there always be this much singing from you on this show, or is this a treat week of some sort?
Rob didn't hit the mute button. Joe, to answer your question, I don't know. I think I just see the joy that it brings Sam.
And please know, it's not complaining. I am thoroughly enjoying it all.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
Especially when there's callbacks and someone was talking about the weight, and then it was
yeah.
From 2 hours ago.
Wait a minute, Chester.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, nothing.
Nothing. Oh,
I got to run, guys. We got a water leak upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Got to run.
All right. See ya.
Thank
you, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
All right.